when the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keeps dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
Welcome everybody to today's show. Make sure if you guys are brand new, make sure you're subscribing to the channel GTV. Make sure you obviously head on over to my guy Jerry James. Make sure you're heading over to check out his content, all the stuff that he and myself have got planned for this summer and heading into the new season. Guys, if you're already in the chat, if you're already vibing and whatnot, you'll find me in the chat. Obviously, this is a pre-recorded video, but you guys will obviously find me in the chat. So please, man, we're going to chop it up. We're going to chop up a little bit. Shouldn't be too long, hopefully. Let's see how long I can ramble on for. But obviously, you guys can see on the screen today, we are talking Henderson and Thiago. And obviously, the title of the video is Time Up for the Old Guard. Now, reason I've decided to put that title is obviously we've seen in the last 24 hours, would we say, both Henderson and Thiago are potentially subject to bids from various clubs. Well, Henderson more from Steven Gerrard's new club, and Thiago, there's been just murmurs and things like that in regards to where he may or may not potentially end up. But I just wanted to kind of wrap on it, just kind of real quick to you guys. And guys, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, you can see scroll across the bottom. Is it time to sell Thiago and Hendo? Let me know your thoughts. To be honest, most of you, I kind of know where your head is at. I kind of know what you guys are kind of thinking in a sense, but it would be good to kind of just hear it firsthand and also just chop up in a sense of a logical conversation. Now, I say logical conversation, but when it does come to, being a football fan and stuff like that, of course, emotion is going to take over. And also, I do see and understand, where a certain section of the fan base is obviously coming from, especially when you're talking probably more Henderson than Thiago. Obviously, with Henderson being a fantastic servant to the football club, has won absolutely everything, taking over from Steven Gerrard. It was a big ask. It was a very, very big ask. I'm not gonna let me start off being positive, for once. Taking over from Steven Gerrard, when Gerrard left, that captaincy role, it's a bit like Szoboszlai taking that number 8. He don't know yet, but that is going to be a massive weight on his shoulders. So, a lot of people start comparing, the two players. So Szoboszlai, he likes to take long shots, for example. Gerrard likes to take long shots as well. Gerrard is a bit of a playmaker at that. Szoboszlai is a bit of a playmaker. Can he get the assist? Can he take the game by a scruff of a neck? All of these little various things, he's going to get compared. And when we look at, Jordan Henderson, it's the same thing. Not in terms of the ability. We already know, you know what I'm saying? Without being disingenuous, without being disrespectful, we already know when it does come to, Jordan Henderson. In terms of ability, he's nowhere near, not even close, never has been remotely close to Steven Gerrard. But that's not where I feel his leadership qualities obviously lie. Now, some players, they can be leaders on the pitch just by their performance, but with Jordan Henderson, it's not really about the performance. He hasn't been completely rubbish since he's been here. Let me not sit here and lie. Let me not act like, oh my goodness, he's been absolutely dogged, this, that, and the third. I don't think it's been like that. And I feel like anybody who's saying that anyway, I don't think there's many people, but I feel like anybody who is saying that, you're lying to yourself, man, because, there was a little period of time where, he definitely was never at any point one of the best midfielders. He was just very, very good for Liverpool, and he was quite important, so to speak, to what we were trying to do as a club under Jurgen Klopp, winning those trophies, etc., etc. But, Jordan Henderson, as I said, been a servant for was it over a decade now? Was it like 12 years or something like that? I can understand, some sections of the fan base, who are sitting there saying, we've just lost James Milner. In terms of the experience in the squad, in the team, that is a vital piece of experience that is obviously leaving the football club. So to then potentially lose a Jordan Henderson, I would understand. If we were another club, if we were like an Arsenal and we had lost, and there's talks of them potentially losing like a Xhaka and maybe Partey as well, two very experienced individuals. Take those two out of the squad, the experience isn't really there. You know, I know you got Jesus and you got Zinchenko, obviously won things with Manchester City, but they're not really experienced like that in this game. They have a little bit, but not enough, I would consider anyway. That's just my personal, opinion on that. Good players, but just in terms of the experience, don't really have that. They're still working their way through the game, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're looking at, Liverpool, with James Milner gone, of course, I think Jurgen Klopp wanted to kind of, look at Jordan Henderson, and he would probably potentially take up that James Milner role, which again, absolutely fine, kind of thing. But I feel that we're not like, say, in Arsenal as an example, because I feel we seem to forget that we still have Salah, we still have Van Dijk, we still have Allison, we still have Robbo. Heck, you want to throw Trent in there? He's definitely very, very experienced. Sometimes it's not even, for me, it's not even necessarily about the age, so to speak. It's kind of what you've been through throughout your actual career. Obviously, of course, if you've only had like a couple of years, then it's not going to make any sense. But with someone like Trent, who's been in the team for God knows how long, he has started that journey with us in terms of winning everything. Him being a local lad as well, obviously helps, kind of thing. And then when you compare him to other players in the squad who've only been here for a shorter amount of time, he'd be a more experienced player, within our squad, kind of thing. Obviously, if we get in different other players, then that might change. But at this current moment in time, you still have these kind of players. So I don't feel that we would necessarily miss a Jordan Henderson. Maybe, listen, forget the pitch stuff. Let's just, not even go down the pitch route at this current moment in time. If you're just talking about off the pitch, of course, you're going to miss, a character, and someone like a Jordan Henderson. That's just painstakingly obvious. It's, one of those kind of things where it's inevitable that you would miss someone like that, just purely because of the nature of the business, the things that he does off the pitch, the racism campaign that he was really, really tied in with, and just various other charity work and stuff close with Liverpool Football Club, and all these kind of things. And just even for new players joining the football club, I can only imagine, I don't know, but I can only imagine the stuff behind the scenes that he might potentially do for those new players coming into the football club. And I sit there and I think to myself, you know what, that's really, really big, of course, and that's really, really noble, and that's definitely something that I admire about Jordan Henderson. It's definitely something that I sit there and think to myself, yeah, you know what, of course you'd miss that. I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like, oh, we're not going to miss that, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. But my thing is, when there's potential, and we'll take a quick look here, when there's potential, news that, Jordan Henderson could potentially the club, Steven Gerrard, looking at, potentially getting him in, he's currently now manager of Al Ettifaq, over there in Saudi, the Middle East. Like, I'm looking at that situation and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, would we miss him as much? As an overall general thing, is he going to be someone where we're going to be like, Jesus Christ, Liverpool cannot move on? It's almost the Gerrard thing. I don't think it's the same effect. When Steven Gerrard left, Liverpool Football Club, you literally left the only experience, the only leader in the entire team. Because even when Jordan Henderson took over, he wasn't experienced. He wasn't really a leader at that moment in time. He still needed to command the respect of all the other players who were still there. So, and I'm not talking about footballing ability. I'm just talking about in a general sense, because there was other players who were potentially older than him, and just things like that. And he was still new to that role, and being the captain of Liverpool Football Club is a lot bigger than most things in this football world. So for him to then take over from Steven Gerrard, who some people would consider the best player to ever play for Liverpool, that's going to be difficult for anybody. Doesn't matter who it would have been. It would have been super difficult. Now, I believe that maybe there could have been a way we potentially went to someone else before a Jordan Henderson, maybe for a season or two, but again, that's just me splitting hairs, if anything. That's just one of those kind of things. At the end of the day, I guess you could say it kind of worked out. And again, when you go through Jordan Henderson's career and you look at the sheer fact that he was there with us, won this, that, and the third, again, like I said, I want to start off positive. He's been there through the thick and thin. He's been there, been able to help us throughout these moments. So, of course, I'm not saying you just dash man to the curb and, he's a rubbish, well, not even rubbish, but like um that kind of feeling of, oh, get this guy out of my football club. I'm not even going to go down that route. I know some people will obviously go down that route, and it's their prerogative. It's up to them how they see it. But I'm just saying that we're not in that same space, and it's something that I mentioned. And big up Ends man as well, guys. Make sure you head over to his channel. Him and Savage, they did, I think it was called Box to Box, call-in show last night, and very, very good show. Lots and lots of questions, lots of different things, statements and stuff like that that will put out. So yeah, definitely a good show. So make sure you head over there to check it out. But one of the things that I was mentioning, speaking to Savage and Ends about was, emotion and the logic. Listen, I get it. Football is an emotional sport, blah, 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 all of that kind of good stuff. But if you do not apply logic sometimes to your thinking behind certain decisions, you're going to leave yourself absolutely effed in the beat. Like, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And I feel with how this club is, in terms of the traditions of the football club, and how we are as a football club in terms of how we are towards players and how we, laud some of these players, cult heroes here, there, and like the Origis. You think Origi would ever be a cult hero at like a Manchester United or, anything like that? He's probably like the equivalent of Danny Welbeck. And Danny Welbeck was someone who won God knows how many Premier League titles, at Manchester United. But, you look at some of the players that, we've kind of taken to our heart, and that's just our nature, which is absolutely fine. That's one of the reasons why I like being a Liverpool fan, because of the affiliation that we have with some of the players that played for this football club. But there then comes a time where logic has to take over a little bit. We're not in that same space that we was in back in 2017, as an example, before we started, going on this run of winning, all of these trophies. We need to understand that we're in a completely different space right now. If we hadn't won anything, fair enough. Keep Jordan Henderson. We need the experience. This, that, and the other. We ain't got no one else really in the squad who really knows what it's like to win. We don't really have much voices in the dressing room and blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're telling me that Jordan Henderson, and guys, let me know what you think in the comments. If you're telling me that Jordan Henderson is the only voice that we have in that team, Liverpool are, forget, like, people talking about titles and stuff like that next season, forget about it. Forget about it. It won't happen. It's not going to happen anyway, in my opinion, but it definitely isn't going to happen. If that's what people are actually saying, if that's the argument that you're trying to come with, if that is the argument that you're using in regards to trying to keep someone like, Jordan Henderson for those reasons, and those reasons alone, because then it's just like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Because so what was everybody else doing throughout this time? The Salahs, the Van Dijks, the Alissons, the Robbos, the Trents, the Fabinhos. What are they just there? Even if you want to take out the Fabinhos, the guys I just named, what are they doing? What are they actually doing? Here at the football club, then, in terms of, being leaders and stuff like that, to be able to help the next generation, of players. So, that's just kind of my thing when it does come to a Jordan Henderson. Even if you want to go now, I don't. It's like I didn't really want to do this because it was always going to be bad, but it was like I had to show it regardless. We look at Jordan Henderson from, this is from the 2022-23 season on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it's the 21-22 season. And you can see in terms of like the stats and things like that, in most stats, and in most metrics, he's gone down, throughout that time. I guess possession loss. I think he played less games this season than he did that in the quad season, or the quad challenge season. So you can see in certain things, ball recovery, chances created, passes attempted, all of these kind of different things. Moving on, passing accuracy gone down, long passes attempted, long pass accuracy, forward passes, backward pass, like all of these things are kind of, regressed in that time, kind of thing. And again, I guess understandable. He's getting older. Duels contested, tackles made, ground duels contested, ground duels, all of these things are starting to go down. So of course, and if we if we go to look from a playing side of things, then I'm just like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to, let this guy kind of go. I just don't understand, and I'm probably going to say the same thing, for Thiago when we speak about him in a second. But I just don't understand why we as a club always have to keep these players until they expire. Like nobody else is going to do that unless the player is playing at that level where it can still help the team both on and off the pitch. We are not at that same stage. I feel like people need to get this. We're not at that same stage. We're not that same club we were 5, 6 years ago, where we need every bit of experience that we can possibly get on top of then having good players. We don't need that. We don't need that kind of thing anymore. Of course, you need experience, but we've now got those players who are there. I'm sorry, but I'm not hearing that. None of these other players, out both on and off the pitch. People talk about your Van Dijk. We've seen Van Dijk recently with the Holland the Dutch national team. We've seen how they've spoken about him. Why is he not a leader? He's the bloody captain of the Dutch national team. Fix up. Salah, captain of Egypt. Robbo, captain of Scotland. Like, it's like I don't understand. Like, what are you guys doing? Outside of here, kind of thing. I'm not saying you have to be exactly like Jordan Henderson off the pitch. We're all different and individual human beings, so that's just not going to happen regardless. That's absolutely fine. But what I'm saying is having that leadership qualities isn't just on the pitch, but off the pitch. What are these guys doing then? Unless people are going to tell me in the comment section, these guys are just there to just kickball and then that's it. We just have the one captain. And so what happens when he leaves? What do we do then? Is Van Dijk not going to be the vice captain next season? If he's the vice captain and say Jordan Henderson doesn't play that many games, so it's probably going to be more likely that Van Dijk will be the captain on the pitch more often than not. We might again stop talking about title challenges, people. Stop telling me about Liverpool back and forget all of that. How can we be back? We ain't got no captain on the pitch. You need a captain. You need someone who's a leader. You need these kind of things. You need this kind of quality. I look around, at certain other clubs. Most notably, I look at someone like a Manchester City. Gundogan, captain last season. See you later. He's off to Barcelona. Why? They've still got KDB. They've still got even a Ruben Diaz and whoever else you want to throw in there. John Stones. Leaders everywhere. Leaders everywhere, both on and off the pitch. So I don't understand why we have to be so tied to these players where it's like, Jesus Christ, he cannot leave because of what? I don't get. He can't perform at the level. We need to stop keeping these guys. I cannot stress that to you guys enough. We cannot keep keeping these players until they just expire, until they just feel like they want to leave the football club. How are we supposed to get in new players if we still stockpiling all these other players? We're not that same club where we need a 37-year-old James Milner, 38-year-old James Milner, 39-year-old James Milner. We're not that same club where we need a 33-year-old Jordan Henderson, 34-year-old Jordan Henderson, 35-year-old Jordan. We don't need these players here anymore. If we were that same club, you wouldn't hear from me. You wouldn't even hear from me because I'll be like, bro, we kind of need these, man. We actually kind of need these guys, because forget it, they can't play it on the pitch, but off the pitch, that was always the caveat. Yeah, maybe off the pitch, boom, 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 no problem. But we don't need that anymore, guys. We should already have these players there. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be at the same level, but is everybody in the chat right now, are you telling me, or even if it's not anybody in this chat at this current moment in time, but just anybody watching this or anybody listening to this outside of this, are you telling me that he is that important that we must keep him here? It's an actual must. You lose Jordan Henderson, you lose everything about Liverpool. As I said, then he might as well start in the team. He might as well always be there. Then he might as well just stay until he just decides that he wants to go. We need it's just honestly, man. Sometimes it's just it is just jarring. Honestly, it can be so jarring, in that kind of sense, in terms of just players and keeping them here, and it does my head in. I'm even looking here at Jordan Henderson's injury record at the football club. I mean, this isn't even all of it. I think there's another page or two, but let's just say this is from the 17-18 season up until last season. 17-18, he's missed 7 games. 18-19, bloody hell, he's missed, what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7 games again. 19-20, he's missed 9 games. 2021, he's missed 17 games. And then obviously 22-23, well, it says he's missed 6 games through injury, but I feel like that would be a bit more. But that's what it says. So we'll go with that. But these guys can't be relied upon. So on top of being injury prone individuals, when they are, well, in the case of Jordan Henderson, when he is then on the pitch, he can't really perform at that level. He can do it a couple of times, random, a couple of times. But I'm sorry, I don't really need that, and I don't feel like we need that, and I don't really want that anymore. If I'm being totally honest with you, we need to start understanding as a club, and it needs to come from the soul of the club in terms of the tradition of the club. These players gotta go. We've got to start replacing these players, whether it's with someone from the academy, like a Tyler Morton or whatever, or you go and sign someone. I actually don't care, but you need to stop doing this where players just stay here until they just rot. And then once the fan base just starts turning on them, constantly and all of this kind of stuff, it then just becomes like an ugly kind of thing. On top of that, and this is where we're going to move on, to Thiago. On top of that, you then look at it and think, bro, like, especially obviously this is if we were to get like a bid for someone like Jordan Henderson. I'm saying Liverpool would be absolutely stupid to not accept that. Be absolutely stupid from a business sense. Let's even forget the football sense. Just from a business sense, it'd be stupid to not accept that. So what we're gonna do? Just let everybody keep going for free. So we keep signing players and we just keep them until their last 2 to 3 years at the football club isn't really good enough, but we keep them because of their because of how long they've been servants of the football club. So we have the James Milner thing. We just keep these guys, for however long. Is that what we're trying to do here? Is that what it is? At Liverpool, I don't want that. I do not want that for my club. I'm sorry. It just breeds mediocrity. It just breeds something within you where I'm just like, how do you even expect to win and keep up with everybody else when you're still keeping guys who shouldn't even be in the team? I'm sorry, it's business. Leave all that emotional shit at the door. I don't care anymore. Trying to win here is like, again, am I alone? Like, again, people, let me know in the comments. Let me know, am I alone in that thinking where we're trying to actually win? If so, then fairs. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, generally fairs. Like, if I'm alone, then I'm alone. But I kind of know that I'm not alone. I know people are trying to win. So we need to, I'm not saying you just dump a man straight away, and bro, I'm not even saying that. Brother has been here for time. Jordan Henderson, he deserves a fantastic send-off for everything he's done for the football club. I respect that highly. I want people to understand. I want people to listen to what I'm saying. Like, don't, just because I've said all the other stuff, don't just take certain little bits of what I'm actually telling you. I respect the guy highly. One of probably the second best captain, well, not probably, is the second best captain that I've ever seen here. Heck, he's only 2 out of 3 or 4 that I've even seen since I've been alive anyway. But just in terms of being the captain, I know some people say he's probably the best captain in Liverpool, and I can understand where you're coming from with that. I can fully understand. I wouldn't even get mad at you and be like, "Rah, what, over Gerrard?" Nah, I totally understand it. But for me, it would always be Steven Gerrard for what he embodied both on the pitch and off the pitch. Players wanted to come and play with Steven Gerrard. That's how good he was both on and off the pitch. Obviously, his on the pitch abilities then enabled him, for other players to be saying that. But that's what it is. Top players, Gerrard could call. I'm not saying they didn't come, of course, but that's just more due to being at Liverpool at that time. But if Liverpool were a bigger club, in terms of winning things, during a period of time that Gerrard was, playing at that kind of elite level, we would have had so many of these players, Gerrard on the phone to certain players, telling them, "Oh, we're saying you want to come to Liverpool." Henderson can't do that. So now, so that's just the play, and he's never been able to do that. Like, he never could do that. Fair enough, no problem. Not everybody can be Steven Gerrard. So now we flip it, and then you're saying off the pitch, is that all we're keeping man for? Come on, man. Like, it's just becoming a bit too long. And this is what I'm saying. This is why when I see people talking about it and they're like, "Oh, people are being disrespectful," I get it. I feel like some people are being a little bit disrespectful in regards to Jordan Henderson, in terms of maybe some of the insults and stuff like that. Look, it's not really needed, so to speak, but it is what it is. I can understand the frustrations behind why people would even say that, because they're just tired of seeing him, playing for the football club. So if they're tired of seeing him play for the football club, they want him to go. I'm not even looking at it from the playing side of things. From the playing side of things, like, cool, then he should have gone, like, when that period of time when he was asking, for a new contract and Klopp had to step in and all of that. He should have gone then. Should have blatantly just gone then. But I understood, keep him around, blah, 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 this, that, and the third, and did it look cool, no problem. But now we've seen that the abilities is just not there in terms of being able to fit into the team and squad and whatever. And with Liverpool moving into this new direction, this Klopp 2.0 that everyone keeps telling me about, if that's the case, he's got to go. He's got to go. Now, again, just want to reiterate, I'm not saying you push man out the door. If that's what you want to do, then you do that. But I'm not saying you push man out the door. I'm not saying, oh, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna, like I said, you just dump him, terminate his contract. I'm not saying any of that. If no bids come in, then cool, no bids will come in. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, kind of thing. And I will understand that. I've got no problem with that. But my thing is that we keep leaving ourselves in this situation where we're constantly keeping these players for longer than they need to be here for, and it's just constant, man. I'm bored, man. How many players have we let go on a free when we should have let them go like a year earlier when we had the chance to do so? It's just boring now. Like these times, we're supposed to be a club that sell to buy, but then we're keeping guys still here. Like I said, not saying dump the guy out, but if there's an offer that comes in, I don't see why you wouldn't want to accept that kind of offer, especially if it's the reported offer, that's being put out there. Again, if no one comes in and no one wants to buy him, then cool. You keep the guy. I'm trying to say you keep the guy. Don't extend his contract. Don't be doing anything stupid. Just keep the guy. No problem. I've got no beef with that. I'm not asking to actively sell him, but it is what it is. Now, when we look at Thiago, obviously, this put out by Anfield Edition, quoted out from Neil Jones. Liverpool could soon have a decision to make regarding Thiago, with interest growing in the midfielder. Fenerbahce are apparently keen on him. Now, again, I'm looking at, a team like Fenerbahce. That will obviously all depend on Thiago in himself. If he wants to leave to go to think, again, it's kind of the same thing in terms of he is someone who is quality-wise. So on the pitch, he has the quality. We've seen the quality. We've seen the quality throughout his career. It's not been as good in terms of the quality I've seen from Thiago, since he joined Liverpool Football Club. I've seen better. But again, I put that just down to the manager and the way that he's used him and stuff like that. So we've seen flashes of it, and things like that. And I totally understand why then people then turn and say, nah, we've got to keep Thiago, man. Luxury player. What the hell is a luxury player? I don't even understand what that is. Like, I actually don't get it. Like, someone in the comments explain to me, what is a luxury player? Like, is that being able to have a player on big wages and they rarely really ever play, but they're so good, like Messi levels good, so they're allowed to only play like a few games? Like, I don't get it. Again, in the comments, let me know what that means, because that's all I keep hearing. Yeah, he can be a luxury player. I've seen the big accounts talk about it, big LFC accounts. I've seen certain people, social media, talking about it. I've seen certain fans talk about it. I'm like, what the hell is a luxury player, man? Like, who do you guys think we are? Like, I don't even understand. Like, you realize that we are Liverpool, right? Like, you realize we do not have the money like of a Man City or a Chelsea or a Newcastle, right? Like, you do get that, right? Like, we don't and can't have luxury players. We can't just have a brother who isn't going to be a reliable player, is just going to be there and there. But bro, that spot could be going to somebody else in the squad. Or if you want to go and sign someone to fill up that spot, then no problem. Like, this talk of, yeah, you know what, Thiago, man, let him play 15, 20 games a season, man. You know what I'm saying, bro? No. Again, this is what I'm saying. Even looking here, at his injury record, it's actually kind of crazy, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like, I'm looking at someone like Thiago, and you're looking at his injury record in a general sense, and you're saying, all right, 22-23 season, Jesus, 16, 22 games, damn. 21-22 season, what's that? 3, 7, 10, 13, 23. That's 23 games, again. I think 23 games. 2021 season, 17 fours, 21, 1920 season. This is at Bayern Munich, by the way, 1920 season. You've got 5-4, now 10 games, 18-19, 6 games there. There might be another one, on the bottom, but This guy misses so many games every single season. And I'm just like, bloody hell. I don't understand how someone like yourself can miss this amount of games, and still have people fighting for you, still have people looking at you and saying, nah, but we got to keep him, man. I'd rather keep him. You'd rather keep him for what? Again, I don't understand. If a bid were to come in, we need to stop keeping these, like keeping him for one more season. You need to understand when you're saying keep a player for one more season. Again, I'll use Manchester City. It's not Gundogan. He's not performing at that level. He's super integral to the team. We need this guy in the team, and then maybe because he's so good, maybe there might be an opportunity where we might. No, that's not the case with Thiago. He's just unreliable. We have zero idea how many games he's going to play next season. We have zero. Forget even how many games. We have zero idea if he's going to be available for these games anyway. So why is it that we are sitting here and it's like, nah, we've got to keep, man, luxury player and all of that, boom, 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 boom. No, I don't know. No, get rid. I'm tired now. I'm actually bored and I'm tired. Quality player. I think Klopp has kind of ruined him, and it's been a flop of a transfer. How you flopped Thiago, I don't know, but you flopped it. Regardless of what anyone wants to say or think, you flopped that kind of transfer. He's definitely, in my opinion, regressed as a footballer, since he's moved to Liverpool. Considering he was up here in the way people spoke about him prior to coming to Liverpool, he's definitely not even close to that. If you want to talk ability, yeah, Carl, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we all know ability-wise, he's a really, really good player. But if you're talking actual, just a player himself, nah, he's nowhere near it. So many players have now surpassed him since he's joined Liverpool Football Club, in terms of just their profile, in terms of that type of player, where they're at in the rankings, if you want to, call it that kind of thing. I'm just like, nah, man. And the thing is, I feel like with Liverpool, we then put ourselves in a position where we needed a Thiago, but it's like you cannot rest your laurels on a guy who is so injury prone. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, again, get rid of these type of players. I'm not saying you push these guys. Now, this is the difference. There's certain players in the squad, I'm like, nah, we need to actively start selling these guys. But he's not one of those players. And Jordan Henderson is also not one of those type of players. I'm not asking you to push these guys out the door. What I'm asking you to do is that if a sizable bid was to come in, stop letting these guys go for free. They're not that important, in my opinion, to the team. This ain't Salah. 1 year left to go. Man, still banging in 30 goals a season in all competition. That's different. That's when I'm like, yeah, we kind of need to, you know what I mean? Sort something out. That's when I'm like, now I'd rather just keep for a season because he can still help the team. These guys are not realistically helping the team in any such way. Thiago came back last season, from injury. Jesus Christ. It was like the second coming of Jesus at this football club. Like, honestly, like the way people were like, oh my goodness, Liverpool just look amazing. Then Bajcetic came through. Oh my goodness, Liverpool just look amazing. Like, make up your mind, people. Make up your mind. Again, we were just that in the mud that anything that was just exciting or just exuberant or whatever, that's just where we were at as a fan base kind of thing. But it was funny watching everybody just the way that we spoke about it kind of thing. Listen, Thiago's had his moment. We all remember his first game against Chelsea. Man came on, was it at half time? Yo, I thought we was getting that Thiago. I was like, yeah, Liverpool, but hey, I can't even wait. I can't even wait to see. And then now we're here. Now we're here. Now we're looking at it, and the fan base are kind of split where it's like, boy, I don't even know, like maybe we should just, sell him. Like, how do we get here? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Again, because he's not reliable. He's just not reliable. And I'm sorry, he's just not really that integral for me where I'm going to be like, yeah, no, you know what? Let's just keep him, blah, 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 this, that, and the third, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Like, for me, nah. I would prefer to, see him go. No, let me take that back. Not even prefer to see him go. I just think he should go. Again, if a bid comes, I'm not saying actively sell. I'm just saying if a bid were to come. Again, looking at his stats. So on the left of your screens is from last season, and on the right of the screens is from the quad challenge season. Again, you can see in most metrics, it's kind of gone down. Take a look here at a few of the others. This was actually quite interesting, to be fair. And it's funny because this is where I was like, Brad, this is how I know he was because last season a lot of people were speaking about him being like this, our best defender in the midfield. That again, this is what I'm saying. This is how you know that we were just rubbed out in the midfield. Like he was our best defender. Like, is that why we signed Thiago? Because he's our best tackler and he's the best. Jesus Christ! Like, but at the same time, give credit where credit is due. He definitely upped it from the season before, kind of thing. And I think he actually felt that he just had to, because of the situation we were in and where we were at, at that current moment, in time, kind of thing. So, it is one of those things. And again, you can see here, this is in the Premier League, only played 18 games, played 7 more games. But even then, I'm looking at that thinking 25 games, in the Premier League, the season before. And I think I can't remember if he was named in the team of the season for that season. I think he was. I feel like he was named in the team of the season. But it's so mad. Like, we just don't get, like, that's how you know this guy can be quality. Like, he is genuinely quality if you can get that amount of games. But I just think now we've reached a stage, with a Thiago that, it's just not going to happen anymore. And where, for me, the only reason why, again, where you've only got 1 year left, on his deal, that's where I'm just like, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm not trying to kick these guys out. And please let me know what you guys think, in the comments in the live chat. Obviously, chopping it up or whatever. Like, would you sell these guys? Wouldn't you? As the question here, wouldn't you rather cash for Thiago and a Hendo kind of thing? Like, wouldn't you rather get that cash? Look, I don't know what that cash would look like. Let's say you're able to sell like a Thiago for like 15 mil and a Henderson for like, I don't know, I think the reports were like 20, 25. Let's say 20 million, and you get 50. That's 35 million that you're able to get off these players. Either that goes towards a new player, either that goes in the bank for something, whatever. But I'm just tired of it just sitting, like, we just keep these players here, and then we have this next issue that we're going to have next season where, let's say, I don't know what Henderson's contract situation is like. I don't think it ends next season, but you're going to have a situation whereby you're not going to get any value, which means you're going to more or less end up having to just keep him anyway, because you're not really going to get any value, from that. Thiago, obviously, contract runs out next season. So then you end up just losing 2 more players on a free. Haven't got really the money to be able to replace these players. Like, it's just always a constant thing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't just still buy players. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be able to spend money, but it just doesn't make business sense keeping these guys here. It really, for me, it just doesn't make any sense, especially because of the money that these guys actually on at this football club. They're on quite big wages. So I'm sitting there thinking, these wages again could be going to other players. We lost Firmino, we lost James Milner, we lost Naby, we lost Ox. Like, we lost these guys for free. Like, for free. Forget what you think about that. We just lost all of these guys for free. So at no point prior to them going this season, at no point we couldn't have sold them. Like, any of them. Firmino, we could have easily have sold. Like, James Milner, we could have let go or sold. Prior. I think he signed an extension anyway to keep him here at the club. Let him go. Naby and Ox, it's like 3 years too late, like, kind of thing. You've got to the point now where ain't nobody even trying to actively buy these guys. I don't even know if Ox has even found a football club yet. I know Naby's obviously out, but I'm back in Germany. But this is what I'm saying. It's just, honestly, man, it just stresses me out sometimes. Like, it's like the fan base can't sit and have that conversation where, we're sitting here and it's like, thank you for what you've done, but it is time to go. As soon as you mention, no, it's time for these players to go, everyone starts jumping down your throat, pause. And everyone's like, oh, man, you're being so disrespectful. You're being this, you're doing that, blah, 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 and this, that, and that. I'm like, whoa. I can thank you and still want you to go. I'm trying to say, I'm trying to see the next player come through. You got to, like, because I'm trying to see the next player who's able to perform at the high level that we need for us to be able to compete for titles and trophies. That's all I care about. Like, it's all I care about. And I feel like that's what everyone should be caring about. Like, I don't get it. Like, do you care more about the player than you do the actual club? Like, I just don't get it. And then people are going to be like, but that's just the way Liverpool are. And I'm like, well, that's why we've only won 1 title in 30 years. Like, there is reasons behind there's so many different components as to why we are the way that we are. And again, like I said on Savage and Enzo's show last night, like, again, that tradition that we have at this football club, it just breeds mediocrity purely because we've now gone so long, or we had gone so long without winning a title. it then breeded that mediocrity because we were going, 5 years, then 10 years, then 15 years. And then once you get to like 20 years, because it's been 20 years now, you ain't won a league title, or even less than, let's say it's even been 15 years since you won a league title. Now you're getting into that stage where it's just like your emotion for these players has to now be high because you're not seeing anything else. So it's like anybody who can do remotely well for you, straight away it's like, oh my goodness, I love this player. Oh my goodness, he has to be a legend. Oh my goodness, this guy's a complete. Oh my goodness, this. I'm like, yo, like I don't understand. Like I don't understand, man. These big clubs ain't realistically doing that. When these players are ready to go, then they're ready to go. They are ready to go. Fergie didn't have no problems getting rid of Roy Keane. Whatever their beef was, he was the captain of the club, one of the most integral players at that football club and during Sir Alex Ferguson's reign. They had beef one time, yeah, you got to, or not even one time, they had beef probably multiple times, but it's just a sheer fact he was ready to let these kind of guys go. David Beckham, see you later, bro. We got the next guy coming through. Guess what? We'll put that guy, we'll put that guy in. So many players have just left that football club and they've been able to replace because they have the confidence. And again, this is where I'm looking at you, Klopp in guys, and I'm like, where's your confidence level at? The club have the confidence in the manager to be able to just continue. Like it shouldn't be a problem. Oh, he's gone. All right, cool. All right. Thank you for everything you've done. I don't know, give him some type of plaque or whatever it is that you do for players who've been long servants of the football club. No problem. And then we move. Like that's it. Like then we move on to the next player. Can we win with this player? No problem. We just need to move on, man. And it's honestly, let me know what you guys obviously think, in the comment section kind of thing. Like obviously I'll be chopping out back and forth with you guys anyway. So just let me know what you think. But I'm just tired, man. I'm just so tired. And obviously seeing all the news and I'm seeing, the fans here, there and everywhere just talking about it. And it makes for a good conversation, to be fair. But, I would like to know what your opinion is, on the matter, on the Henderson and on, Thiago in regards to whether or not you would, sell these players, whether or not you think Liverpool should just kind of not say goodbye. You know what I mean? Just kind of say goodbye. I think that's probably the best way I can potentially, put it without trying to be, too disrespectful. But as I said, let me know what you guys obviously think in the comment section. Big up everybody who was in this live chat. Again, this is just a nice, quick, short one. I'll be doing lots of these kind of ones as well as actually going live, for real, throughout the rest of the week. So, stay tuned, keep your notifications on. And yeah, we'll chop it up soon, man. We'll chop it up soon. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Should Liverpool let go of Henderson and Thiago? I'm G. Big up your damn self. I am out.